And you know what's it's funny, right? Like like birthday, so you kind of reflect a little bit, and it's like my tastes are just getting heavier.
Okay, so I'm not the only one. I thought it might be kind of weird that you get older, I'm getting the heavier the music is.
No, like I don't think I would have listened to Paleface Swiss a few years ago. I don't think I would have listened, like, and we're going to talk about albums and things later, but like Guilt Trip, who I can't get enough of right now.
Yep.
Super heavy.
Yeah.
Like super heavy. Like almost incoherent heavy, but so good.
Well, there's folks like you and other folks that have like sent me death metal or like technical death metal. And there are times I listen and go, man, I would have never touched this when I was in high school. And I thought I liked heavy music.
Exactly.
I wonder if that's one of those things where in life you sort of, as you get older and you listen to something or whatever, you sort of get desensitized to a point where it has to be heavier to scratch that itch,
I mean, context. When I first started listening to metal, Maiden, Priest, AC/DC, they were considered really heavy.
Yeah.
Right? And then a couple years later, this new era comes and it's Metallica, Slayer, the big four.
Megadeth,
Anthrax. And you thought it can't get any heavier than that.
Right.
And then a couple years go by and now you're listening to like Death Angel. And then like, it's super heavy. And then suddenly you slip into like Napalm Death. And then like, you're like, okay, I went from like the Trooper Iron Maiden to listening to like Napalm Death. I can't even, I don't even think I could say their names of their songs.
That begs the question, because it'll always progress that way. How does music get heavier than it is today? Because there's some things that I listen to that are like, what would you do different to make it heavier?
Yeah, well, great example. Dillinger Escape Plan.
Yep.
You can't get more frenetic, more heavy. Like we have that text thread with a couple buddies, and he sent Prancer. I mean, Prancer is psychotic. Like I can't listen to Dillinger for more than like 10 minutes, or without then like I'm like, okay, I gotta listen to like something way mellow, not even metal related,
like a palate cleanse.
Yes, like a palate cleanse. So it's one of those things where it's like the taste just it. I don't know that it can get heavier, but I think it can get somebody told me once, and I was thinking about this when I was driving here. Usually when the world is crazy, better music gets made.
Agree.
So like people talk about like the 80s, like there was a lot of haves and have-nots, and you're kind of seeing some of that now, and without getting political. But there's kind of just a mayhem thing that's going on right now, and I think that's going to breed a lot of good music. Unfortunately, or fortunately, depending on how you want to look at it. But I think we've had it. I think it's been a long time since there's been, one of the things we were going to talk about, like is metal dead, or is it kind of in hiding, kind of in waiting? And it's so niched out now, and like the way we consume music now, like we have text threads that we share constantly.
Yeah.
Like Guilt Trip I stumbled on because it was in a algorithm that Apple Music decided, hey, I think you'll like this. And I went, yeah. So, and every now and again you stumble on that, but it's so niched now that like I don't see another time where there's going to be a Metallica, a Slipknot.
I mean, I certainly hope so. And that is something I think about all the time, which is, and I know old guys like us will go back and go, well, the music in my heyday was the best, right?
Yes.
But if I started to rattle off the bands from the 90s and maybe early 2000s that were like earth-shattering, whether you talk about Korn starting a genre, you talk about Rage Against the Machine, you talk about Soundgarden, you talk about Alice in Chains, and you on and on, these iconic bands that will stand the test of time.
Yep.
I don't know that those type of bands exist today in 2025. Now, if I was 12 or 13, I might think that. But as the old guy now, I think, man, all this music doesn't necessarily have the same groundbreaking appeal that pushed music into a new direction that it did when I was growing up.
Yeah, totally.
So is that just a boomerman? I'm not a boomer.
Yeah,
I'm a, what is it called?
What are you? I'm Gen X.
Geriatric millennial.
Okay, I'm Gen X.
That's literally, I'm like the 2 years that I technically still qualify as a millennial, but they call me a geriatric millennial.
I'm good old fashioned Gen X.
Yeah.
I'm easy button with that. But I do think, I just think the way we consume information now is changed. I mean, obviously, you talked about social media and all these different things and just music, like used to be like MTV. If they played Def Leppard, everybody liked Def Leppard or Soundgarden or like Nirvana. Yeah, they were grunge and underground and all that stuff. But when they popped because of the music video for Smells Like Teen Spirit.
Yeah.
You don't have that anymore.
Yeah, you have just this like fragmented way to consume, and everything is algorithm driven, like you said. Yeah. So it's like kind of curated towards your taste.
Yeah.
So it's like reinforcing your taste over and over again and really honing it.
Yes.
But it's not necessarily introducing you to like a completely new thing.
Pop music and hip hop have probably the best platforms currently for music, right?
You think so? And what is it about that? Why is it?
Well, because I think it's pervasive. I think movies, commercials, any you see a commercial for Sprite and it's Sabrina Carpenter. You're not going to see a commercial for Sprite and have the dude from Guilt Trip, or pick a heavy band like even Metallica. Metallica's not going to do Kia commercials, right? Like the consumability of pop and of hip hop specifically. I mean, you watch hip hop, what it's done over the last 40 years relative to other genres. I bet you it's here when everybody else is here.
Well, that's what my daughter she got in. My daughter's 8 and she got into this girl named Zara Larson, and she's a teeny bopper. Yeah. But like, I go, who's this Zara Larson? She wants to listen all the time. I go to her Spotify and she's got like a 1.2 billion plays on a song. Right. And I'm like, what? But it's the Britney Spears of her time. Yes. Maybe. I don't know if for sure if that's the case.
But probably in that vein.
But because it is so consumable, like you said, across so many different age ranges and girls and boys, and there's just a mass appeal to it. So it does get utilized.
And it's part of what we like about metal, or at least I do, that not everybody listens to it. Yeah. Like I still love, and it's one of the things we were going to talk about too, which is like, can you be too old to go to shows, and can you, does the window close on it? Because I do know, like for me, like I've become more picky. My only caveat is I need a chair, right? Like and we've had this conversation. Like we learned this. I call this the knock loose experiment. Whenever we went and saw them over in Fort Worth, and we got there super early. Yeah. And by the end of the show, we were like, hey, are they winding this thing up?
When are they going to go on? Well, I remember that. I either need a chair or a rail to lean on. But even over time, that rail is not enough, man.
We got in the car after that show, and we both let out an audible groan. Like, it was like, okay. Boy, that was something, wasn't it?
I'm starting to like your play now, which is we don't need to see the first 2 bands. Like, let's hang out and let's chill and then let's go. But I'm still
which
that
is
guy.
A bummer.
It's a bummer because I'm that guy that's like, I actually kind of like the first band maybe the best. And then the 2 bands in between I don't want to see, but I don't want to miss the first band, so I got to go to the whole damn show. But it's like 4 hours long. So by the time the headliner comes on, you go, whew, you start looking at the watch.
You're max gassed.
Yeah. I know, man. So let's talk about metal today, Jeff. Like, I think this is an interesting question. Is metal dead? Is it on life support? Is it in sort of?
I don't think it's dead in any way, shape, or form. Because we're going to talk about some of the bands we've been listening to, and they may not have a ton of listeners, or they may not have whatever, but there is still good music being put out. I mean, we were talking about it right before we went on. And I took little screenshots of like stuff I was listening to this year.
Yeah, I'm glad you did, because if you were to tell me, hey Spencer, what are your top 5 albums this year? I go, I don't really know.
So like Malevolence put out a great album this year that I really dig. Where Only the Truth Is Spoken. That's a great album. Okay. A band that I think might be kind of back to what we were talking about, like the consumable band, is Turnstile.
Oh, really? Well, they're an old school band, aren't they?
They are, but they put out a new album in 25.
There was a song on that album I really liked.
And it was in commercials. Oh, it was in some things like Turnstile. A lot of people seem to think that they're kind of they're going to be like the flag bearers, not necessarily of metal, but of kind of like that punk. Like they do kind of do that punk pop sensibility. Yeah. Okay. And I saw them open up for Every Time I Die a few years ago. Fantastic showman. The singer is a psychopath. He's running all over the place. And they put out an album this year called Never Enough, which is if you
that's the song Never Enough of that.
And if you haven't given that album a lap, give it a lap, because it's not like blow your hair back. It's just good. Yeah, you know what I mean. But it's got the riffs. They do a little like keyboardy thing too. So I think you'd actually really like, based on your.
I guess I need to give it
on your musical taste. I think you'd really like it. A band that you turned me on that didn't come out in 25, but who I absolutely now love, is Slomosa.
Oh yeah.
Those guys, you sent me a thing of them.
I was like, is that the one I was like, this is really in Jeff's wheelhouse?
Yeah, like it's Sabbath, basically. Yeah. And it's old, like Sleep and Dope Throne, like that, just heavy, chuggy, slow. I think they're obviously, and I could like Estonia or something. Like they're like European underground. Like they barely come to the States, but they didn't put out an album in 25. But I discovered them in 25.
Okay. I'll count it.
Can't get enough of them. Hold on, I gotta throw. Yosemite and Black put out their EP.
Yep. I like those guys. I think Yosemite and Black, if you had to ask me, like, what do you think is a band that might actually pop off? They combine a lot of elements I love, but there is an accessibility to them because it's like, it's not complicated.
No.
They're pretty heavy. Some great breakdowns, good riffage. Mm-hmm. They have a little person as a bass player for what it's worth. There's some novelty to that that's kind of cool. Yes. And I just think that you put them all together and there's a lot of energy around them. Yep. I think they're a band that could be up there.
You know, you talk about novelties in bands. Slomosa and Guilt Trip, who we've been talking about, they have female bassists.
Okay.
Which I think is just super cool because it's visually, because it's such a male dominated and it's macho, and you listen to bands like Kubla Khan and you want to lift weights and punch people.
Well, the female bassist, that harkens back to like White Zombie era. Didn't they have a female bassist?
Yeah. Or even Smashing Pumpkins.
Oh, yeah.
Because they had a female bassist. So,
but the point is, we're already digging really deep right now on like what are the best albums of 25? Because it's like none of the. It was Knock Looses was 24. 24. Right? Yeah, so that didn't come out.
Which is still one of my favorite albums in 25.
The only one that I could tell you that I really listened to a lot was the Dying Wish album. But we both agree that album cover is so unsettling. So like I almost don't want it on my phone. Like I don't want it to be up because it'll be on Spotify, and you're showing.
And that's
Apple
the old man in me, right?
Yeah,
that's whenever we're metal age men.
But this is terrifying,
like a lady with a bag over her head.
And for the folks that don't know, it's literally like a lady with a bag over her head being suffocated or suffocating. I don't know.
I think it's the singer.
She's the one in the bag?
I think I read that, but I could be wrong. But I'm like, okay, that
it's a choice.
That feels like a lot.
It is a choice.
Feels like a lot.
Yeah.
Another band that I really have gotten into this year, and they've only put out a couple little EPs and singles, is Atomic Rule.
I'm not familiar with them.
Dude, it's the guy from, I sent it to you guys, and I sent you a song called Bone Lady.
Okay.
Which is like, it's just sludgy and slow. It's the guitarist. It's the guy from Every Time I Die.
Okay.
The guitarist who became a pro wrestler. I don't know if you knew this.
No.
Yeah, like he literally wrestles in like AEW or ECW or something. Yeah. It's called like the Butcher.
What's his character? The Butcher?
The Butcher.
Okay.
And I think that I could have this wrong. And but he put together a band. They've put out like 4 or 5 songs. They all rip.
Yeah.
Now, those guys are they're going to be the third bill on a band, or a third band on a bill every show. They're like, if they're going to headline, they're going to be playing really small venues. So back to what we were just talking about, like super niche-y.
Yeah, the band that everybody sort of talks about right now, which is Sleep Token, right? And it's the constant debate, is it really metal or not? Is it not? There's no doubt they're probably the biggest band in metal.
Without a doubt.
In terms of like popularity today and new. And they released, was it Even in Arcadia?
Yeah. That was this year.
Thought there was some good songs in there.
Yeah, totally.
Nothing really caught my attention like some of the previous albums.
Yes.
And it's like there's so much hype too that it's very difficult for those guys likely to live up to their hype.
Well, and I think Sleep Token and Turnstile, same but different. Okay. They've kind of become a little bit of the new gen flag bearers. I actually think Knock Loose is in that conversation.
I think they are.
Because they're just so uncompromising, and people, you've seen like whether it's Louder Than Life or some of these other festivals, when Knock Loose plays, dude,
everybody's there.
Off their hinges.
Tens of thousands of people, and they're all off the hinges.
And whereas Sleep Token, what's interesting with Sleep Token is, to their credit, they pull in women.
Mm-hmm. Dude, my wife loves Sleep Token. Yeah. I played like Aqua Regia for my kids, and they'll sing Aqua Regia, right? Yeah. So like it has that cool crossover appeal.
Yes.
And what I find funny about Sleep Token, their heaviest stuff, I actually don't like. Because it's like, that's not why I'm listening to Sleep Token.
I totally agree.
I'm like, why are you screaming, dude?
Like a song like Vor, which is super heavy. And like there's a time and a place for it for me, right? Like I can listen to that. But like I much prefer even harkening back to like their first songs, like The Offering and songs like that just have such a groove to them. Mm-hmm. But the problem is, and Slipknot got away with the masks, and then you kind of figure out who they are later, and you're like, oh, Corey Taylor, and everybody knows who Corey Taylor is. Yeah. And these guys are obviously writing kind of the mask theme, and who are these guys, and what are these guys, and who's Vessel, and and these guys are brilliant musicians, and we saw them in concert. That was one of the better shows I've ever seen.
No, it was a
just
phenomenal
a visual
show. Yeah.
A visual, their
and
package.
They sounded every bit as good as they do on an album as well. So
Yes.
to me, it's a testament to the talent.
Totally agree.
But it is kind of weird when you never know who it is. I know there's probably rumors, and I think
then how big can you get?
If you never reveal yourself?
There's
got to be a point where probably Sleep Token ends, right?
I would think so.
You think so? And they said, hey, maybe they have a disagreement and somebody wants to go their separate ways. And then
like Corey Taylor with Stone Sour.
Yeah.
Where he was like, I was in this band too. And, but now everybody knows who all the Slipknot guys are. It took, years and years and years. But Sleep Token and Turnstile to me are quintessential what the new era of metal looks like.
Yeah.
Because neither band is really metal. One is kind of almost gothy, with Sleep Token. Turnstile, they have songs that are just straight up pop songs.
Yeah. That's kind of why I liked it. It was singable. There's a catchy chorus, right?
Yeah. But their older albums are a little heavier, just like most bands, right? My friend of mine, Edgar, who he and I joke, it's like, okay, they decided they wanted to start making money. Yeah. So then they kind of took it back.
Families and kids and stuff.
Paleface Swiss, if you listen to that EP, there's some sing-songy stuff in there.
Yeah.
And I'm like, well, duh. Yeah, of course.
Because you gotta make money. You gotta fill seats in a tour, and you gotta make a living, which is, metal's always been sort of like a verse. It's like almost like it's offensive to do something that makes you money. Yes. How dare you? Yes. But ultimately, if you want the bands that you love to keep playing, they have to. The band I'm wearing, this shirt right here, Fair to Midland.
Great example.
Dude, these guys were on the cusp of popping off. They were on the cusp, and they were signed to Surge's Surgical Attack record label. Yeah. They had a song that kind of got some radio play. They were local to Texas, like Sulphur Springs. Yep. And then they ultimately disbanded. And, this was 10 or 15 years ago, but I heard the lead singer was actually teaching music at a school of rock, right? And then it's like now the rumors are maybe he was a bus driver or something crazy, like a truck driver. But they came to the conclusion, especially when they wanted to settle down and have families, some of them, we can't make a living at this. And I can't be on the road, 200 days of the year.
Another band just like that, Shadows Fall.
Really, same thing?
They were huge. In their genre, right? They came up with Kill Switch and those kind of bands.
Is that the white dude with the really long
dreads? With the dreads down to his feet, literally. And what's crazy is just kind of the footnote to their story. So they hadn't put out anything in a while. Okay. And I was following the singer on Instagram. Well, he lives in St. Louis.
Okay.
And so I had already left. I lived in St. Louis for a long time and then moved to Dallas and saw that he had started another band. He's playing in these clubs that I used to go to, and he's got this band. It's called Hell Night that he plays with, and so a bunch of years go by, and he's like, "Yeah, we're gonna," they do Shadows Fall will do festivals every now and again. They're mid shelf on the thing, and so at one point they were like, "All right, yeah, we're gonna put out a new song." So they put out a new song at maybe 15 years after they'd had anything. It's terrible.
Was it?
And I love those guys, but it wasn't that the lightning in a bottle that they had was gone. They obviously at the time maybe knew that, and guys just spun out. One guy now plays for Anthrax, and another guy's a producer, and this guy does whatever he does, and and it's such a drag. But you're at the time I thought, oh, these guys are going to be. I would have bet my life on the fact that Shadows Fall was going to be the biggest band of metal.
Really?
Yeah.
Yeah. I guess I probably should go back and listen to some of their stuff, but there's plenty of bands that I miss. And then you go back, what happened to those guys? And the last album was 20 years ago. Yeah. And you're like, I wonder what they do now.
But it's back to your point. They're music teachers, and they're this and they're that and they're the other thing. They stay in the genre, they become producers, or they, who's the guy? It's the dude from Volbeat. Well, he was in Anthrax, Rob Caggiano. Okay. He played guitar for Anthrax, and then he became guitarist for Volbeat, but he's also their producer, and now he produces other records. You'd never know who this guy is. I only know because I'm a dork.
Well, but you get to stay around the music. You get to work with great bands, up-and-coming bands.
Yeah.
I bet the best thing about it is you could work 9 to 5, and you can go home after the day is over, and you can stay where you are and not have to travel.
Do you want a family? Do you want to have a normalcy?
Or do you want to be driving around the country in a 15-passenger van with all your gear? And there's bands I like, and it's pretty frequent occurrence where they get in a wreck or something like that, and we lost all our gear. We have to do a GoFundMe to get our gear back so we can play show. They don't even have enough money to replace their gear. I know. And that's a sad state of affairs.
Well, and the math of doing shows for these bands, especially if you're you look at these festivals. And you're like, okay, if Metallica headlines a festival, they're getting paid, or Korn, or Limp Bizkit now because they've kind of caught the zeitgeist of comeback, of like, and again, I can appreciate what Limp Bizkit is.
Yeah.
Like, I know you like Limp Bizkit. I like Limp Bizkit.
Yeah.
I love Korn.
Yeah.
I'm wearing a Deftones shirt. I didn't even mention it. I was kind of saving it. Deftones put out a record last year, which I would make an argument is the best metal record that came out last year.
Okay. Another one I got to give a spin because I loved me some Deftones back in the day.
Deftones, the beauty of, to me, Deftones, there's a handful of bands that know their lane and stay in it. Mm-hmm. To me, and I'm a younger guy, right? Or younger guy.
Young at heart, Jeff. You're young at heart.
AC/DC.
Okay.
Right?
Yeah.
You listen to 20 AC/DC albums. It's the same song, just variations. Mm-hmm. Fast forward, Hatebreed.
Same thing.
It's the same. It's the same song with some tweaks. Mm-hmm. To me, Deftones they know what their lightning is. It's Chino's voice. It's those shoegazy, long riffs, right?
I mean, they invented sexy metal.
They 100%. I mean, I was literally today listening. I worked out this morning before we came to this because I wanted to look huge, and I was listening to Deftones.
Yeah.
And I was listening to everything from the new stuff to Under the Fur or Around the Fur to Engine Number 9.
Dude, Adrenaline, that album.
Oh, it's fantastic.
Oh my God, it's so good. I actually went back down. I did a lot of down memory lane this year, man.
Me too.
Movies too. But it's obviously we're talking about music here. But part of what I do sometimes when I'm not sort of super into the modern sound in that point in time, I'm like, well, I'm just gonna go back to the stuff that I love.
Same.
And I go revisit those albums for 20, 25 years ago and go, God, this is what I love about metal, because from start to finish, cover to cover, the album, the CD, right, is fantastic.
Yes.
And it scratches an itch that some of the music today is just not
doesn't.
Scratching for me.
Yeah, and I agree. And I do the same thing. I mean, I take big long laps through grunge. Like I mean, Nirvana and Soundgarden and Alice in Chains to me is like they're a top 5 band.
What's the EP with Nutshell on it?
Oh, that's Jar of Flies.
Yeah, Jar of Flies. That has been on heavy rotation for me the last 6 weeks or so.
That's as good as it gets.
Yeah, the music, the whole thing is good. It's shortish.
Yes.
So I can run through it on a drive.
Yep.
And the mood that it strikes every time, it is like clockwork.
Yeah, 100%.
It'll get me in the mood that I want to be.
And I'm that way with a couple Soundgarden albums too. Bad Motorfinger and then Super Unknown. Mm-hmm. Like the back end of Super Unknown with like 4th of July and Just Like Suicide, some of those songs that are just they're so haunting. Mm-hmm. And that's the same thing that Lane had with Alice in Chains. And it's there's bands now that can elicit responses. And it might just be a function of the age we were at when we heard those. And I mean, you talk about like the music they say like the music you listen to usually in your early teens, you kind of carry with you. I started listening to metal at that time, and I'm sure you did too.
Same thing.
And everything like that. And it's like, and there are current bands that like, again, I mean, that I dig, that I could talk about, like Guilt Trip has become my new Knocked Loose obsession. And I still love Knocked Loose, but like Guilt Trip, I've watched they run the Garza podcast.
Yeah, like that's a great podcast.
Love that podcast. Yeah. I absolutely, that's a shout out to that podcast because it's so good, and they have their guitars out a lot of times and they're playing the riffs and stuff and cool and things. And I can get close to that feeling of that older stuff, but to your point, not quite there.
Yeah,
like
and in recent memory, there's only a handful of albums that have done that. And I don't want to like belabor it, but I'm sure people who listen to this haven't gone back and watched our other 3 episodes from 2 years ago. But the Rivers of Nihil album, Where Owls Know My Name, there was the Fit for Autopsy album, although most recent was really good, but the one prior to that, heavy rotation, constant rotation. Yep. Then there was the Knock Loose EP. And those are the 3 in probably the last 5 years where those didn't leave my Spotify because they were so astoundingly better than anything else that I was listening to at the time.
Knocked Loose and Boundaries.
I almost forgot about some
are
Boundaries.
2 of the bands that I can't, if they come on, I was driving up here today. I'm listening to Deftones. I'm kind of toggling around. I was listening to Guilt Trip, and it creates the playlist. Spotify does the same thing, right? Yeah. And Get Out by Boundaries comes on.
Yep.
And I'm just like, oh, dude. Like, and they're probably due for a new record this year because they do kind of a new every 2. So I guarantee you.
I hope we get a Boundaries album.
I do too, because the last one was great.
Yeah, it was, man. The one prior to had a little bit too much of the emo-y singing in it for my taste.
Agreed. They went back to...
They went too much that direction. I was kind of like, meh. And then the last one that you're referring to. And I remember one time you sent me you go, bro, have you read the lyrics on this song? Dark.
Deep and dark.
Like, okay, all right, well, I know where this anger's coming from.
I mean, and I went down and you probably do the same thing, and I think most of the people that are listening to this and all of us consumed data this way. Like, all right, I'm digging Boundaries. So now I go on YouTube. All right, let me find some Boundary shows. So you start watching Boundary shows, and then YouTube says, hey, here's an interview with the guys from Boundaries. And you're like, oh, I totally want to see what these guys have to say. And so I'll spend, like, my wife will start to worry about me because, like, the way our life works is a lot of nights after dinner and different things like that, she'll take a shower to, like, clean up for the next day. Well, that's like my 30 to 45-minute window to watch, like, all metal stuff.
Are you watching on YouTube in the living room or what?
I'm watching it like in our bedroom.
Okay. Yeah.
So while she's in the bathroom, I'm in and every now and then she kind of poke her head out, like, kind of like, are you okay?
Yeah.
Like, I'm fine.
Yeah, I'm watching Boundaries be interviewed.
I'm watching Boundaries be interviewed. I'm watching Boundaries at Hellfest or, whatever. But like, I did that with Knocked Loose. I did that with Boundaries. And now I'm doing that with Guilt Trip.
Okay. And is Guilt Trip the one that on their Instagram feed is always the drummer's cam? There's one, it's either Guilt Trip or somebody like them where it's always the sound design from the drummer, but it's the drummer's point of view of the show.
I don't think so, but it could be.
Maybe there's another band. It's somebody in that genre. Yeah. But I love it because all you hear is just the drumming, and then you see insanity in front of them, but you don't hear the rest of the music. But you're like, damn, the drums are sick.
Well, they do all those things with the Slipknot drummer, that Eloy Casagrande or whatever, and they do a lot of POV from him. And first off, the guy looks like he's running in a dead sprint for 2 hours. Yeah. But they do the same thing when they look out at the crowd and it's just him just cracking it. And you're like, okay, that's just way cool.
Well, so all right, so this is a good segue because we kind of said, is metal dead on a hiatus? I think it's in a weird spot right now, and I think it'll come out of it. My hope is certainly it is. One of the things that I have questions about the influence right now, and where do we fit on the spectrum if is it good or bad, is all these like heavy metal reaction influencers like Metal Burb and Orion Reacts. I think you
Bleg,
know the Bleg guy. That's the Orion. I think Orion or Orion Reacts. Yeah. I love it because it introduces me to new bands.
Yes.
What I'm concerned about, and here I want your opinion.
Yeah.
What does it do? It encourages bands to have insane breakdowns so that you catch the attention of one of those guys and they feature it. And what I'm worried about is causing everybody to like funnel their attention to write the most insane breakdown and not write a great song anymore or a great album.
Totally agree.
And so it's like, hey, we're going to try to get this thing to happen.
Yes.
But we're going to forget about writing great music simultaneously. That's my concern.
So that Orion Reacts guy, I think he's great. Like I
love him.
He's horribly entertaining, right? And all that stuff. But I can only do that. Like I appreciate what the guy is doing, and he is any attention's good attention. Let's start there.
And also, I'm suspecting those bands are starting to like pay him to feature their songs too.
Yeah, I mean that's the way it goes, right?
Yeah, yeah.
That used to be the old model in FM radio.
I don't hate it, right? That guy's got to make a living, and cool. Pay me $5,000, I'll do a reel, and I'll get you 100,000.
Now the guy, and so I'll give you two influencers. Him, who he's great. I'm not going to knock him, obviously, because he's got a successful channel and he does great. And I agree with you. People become too focused on the breakdown, and we're in the breakdown era, right? Like you and I love a good breakdown. There's nothing better than going to a metal show and watching the crowd split before the breakdown and then kill each other. Yeah. The guy who I think does a really good job of showing kind of the nasty of metal and like the crunchy riffs, but also kind of the humor of it is that Matt Bavant.
Yes, he's hilarious.
That guy. So there's an example of a guy like he still puts out his top 10 records, but he does all the stuff like me getting in the car, and he's happy and then throws on the crazy and then turns off the crazy after he gets out. He does a great job to me of showing that
he's more of just like, here's what life is like as a metalhead, and you can relate to him.
I'm a metal guy. Yeah. And this is my life. I'm normal. But I also listen to just bat doo-doo crazy music, and that he does a really good job, in my opinion, of showing kind of the full scope, because he also then focuses on like songs, bands, albums, full length content. Whereas as opposed to here's the pig squeal from, cattle decapitation, where
Yeah,
you're like,
it's like, here's Disembodied Tyrant doing a triple breakdown. And you're like, you can't keep breaking down anymore. It's broken.
or here's a cello breakdown, or here's a bass breakdown. And I'm like, again, I love a good breakdown as much as the next guy. But I also just I like songs. A breakdown in it's just, to me, it's like a guitar solo. Guitar solos are like a necessary evil in hard
But then
rock.
when they become self-indulgent, you go like, hey, is this whole song just to get you to the solo so we can watch you for 45 seconds be awesome?
And I'm not going to...
And you break the pattern of the song to do it and then come back to the song.
Absolutely. And I don't mean to pick on Zakk Wylde, because I love Zakk Wylde. He's maybe one of my favorite guitar players. I also play guitar, so I can appreciate somebody that can rip it. When I went and saw Pantera this last year, they were headliners. Incredible. Let's start there. I mean, to see Pantera play, that's super cool, man. That's, pinch me, because I can't believe this is happening. But every song they would finish and Zakk would riff for 30, 40 seconds. Okay, that's cool. Mm-hmm. We get it, dude. You're a guitar god. We got it. But can we just get on to, I want to hear Sandblasted Skin.
But also, is it like, hey, we get it. You had to try to fill the shoes of Dimebag, right? It's like, you're not Dimebag. I love you. But it's like, hey, we know you're probably as good as he is, but like you don't have to, you don't have to prove it.
You're your own thing. And I think it's comparable. I think 80s, 90s solos are now 2020s breakdowns.
But I hope we move beyond the breakdown era, because when a breakdown is perfectly situated within a song, there's nothing like it.
Not loose.
But when you force breakdowns, or you start with a breakdown and let's kind of try to build a song on top of it, doesn't work for me, man.
No, and that's why I like 85% of the bands that Orion Reacts guy looks at, I have no idea who they are. And
we can't differentiate them.
And I don't go search them out.
Yeah.
Whereas somebody who takes the time to say, here's an album with a song that you will like, I'll go check that out.
Yeah. Well, there's a dude, I forgot his name, man, and it's bugging me because I watch his stuff all the time, but he's a huge Tool fan. Like every list inevitably somehow is built around Tool, but he hides it. And then it's like Tool's number one. You're like, okay, we get it. We all love Tool.
We all love Tool.
But he will do really good jobs. Like, here's my top 10 albums in thrash that are great from cover to cover.
Right.
So he goes so deep, and you could tell he loves music.
And he's a deep cut guy.
Every one of his lists will introduce me to a new band, and I'll go, oh, okay, cool. I'll check them out.
And I love, the one thing that's not like with metal, and we talk about it all the time, there's so many different genres. Like, people who don't, I love those videos that you see online of like, here's what somebody thinks this band sounds like if they don't like them. And it's just like pots and pans crackling and, and just a guy going, so like, there's so many different niches within metal, right? And which is actually going to lead us to our next thing, which is going to be what's the other person's favorite genre. But there's so many nooks, and that guy with the Tool guy, he does a really good job of and here's the best stoner ones, here's the best thrash ones,
and you won't have ever heard of them before, and then you go to them and go, oh, these guys have like 1,700 plays on their top song. So this dude is literally going deep.
He's deep cutting it.
I love it, but that is one of the, we had the conversation about his sort of metal in this weird position. At the same time, there's never been more metal to go find out if you're willing to seek it out. Yeah. And that is kind of what I love too. If you're willing to dig, it's the old version of going to CD Warehouse on the weekend, opening up an album that's used because you like the cover and go, okay, I'll check these guys out. And then discovering a band for the first time and you go, whoa, this is amazing.
It's the best.
It's the hunt. I almost like the thrill of the hunt.
Me too. And that's why and again, I keep going back to Guilt Trip because they're my most recent find.
Yeah, we'll just name this episode Guilt Trip.
Yeah, we should. Okay. We should say this is, it's the 54th.
Jeff brings up Guilt Trip every 5 minutes.
54th birthday celebration Guilt Trip. Feel like I'm at a family reunion, but it's one of the, that's what I enjoy is I can spend a day listening to a genre of metal. Okay. And then the next day I can completely shift to another.
All right. So what, all right, Jeff, who goes first? You want me to ask you, birthday boy?
I think mine's going to be so easy. But
the problem is it may be, but I think you have two.
Yes.
I think.
Go ahead.
Between either thrash or whatever you would classify the sludge, doom, stoner metal.
Spot on.
So tell me which one, if you had to pick, what would you listen to?
If they're running a race, I think the stoner, doom, sludge stuff wins by just a nose.
Okay.
Because the thrash...
Well, because that's like the tortoise and the hare, though. The hare is thrash, going really fast and burning themselves out. Stoner doom just chugs along and wins the race for Jeff. All right.
They do. And that's that's literally... I love writing a good riff, just writing it in a song like it's a 7-minute song and they play 2 riffs. That's stoner, doom, sludge.
And there's 3 seconds between like chord, like doom.
And you have no idea what the guy's saying.
Yeah.
So thrash is the same way. Right?
And it's 9 minutes.
And it's 9 minutes. And I am not a long form music guy. Like that's not like, because I would say your favorite genre is more like the proggy.
Yeah. So I would say progressive.
Yes.
Progressive death to progressive metal to a degree.
Yes.
But at the same token, when you write a 12-minute song and it doesn't capture my attention, I'm so bored so fast.
Yeah, agreed. Agreed.
And that's where Tool sometimes gets me on, like Fear Inoculum was like, dude, 17 minutes for a song?
I don't need it.
Like, I know you guys are awesome, but like, just write me a song real quick.
Yeah, well, I mean, the precursor to that, like Rush used to have, like the long form songs. Maiden used to have long form songs. I love those bands.
Dream Theater was
Dream Theater, Portnoy and all that stuff that he's doing and all that stuff. And I know you like where you and I where there's the fork in the road is like, you'll send me something and I'd be like, yeah, dude, and this thing's got like a crazy like saxophone, like Rivers of Nile.
Yeah.
And immediately my battery just goes.
He goes, yeah, not
like,
interested.
I remember you sent me one and I was on the way to the grocery store and I was like, all right, I got to wait on like groceries to be delivered to the car. So I was like, all right, I'm going to throw on the song Spencer just sang because he loves this song. It's Rivers of Nile. I can't remember which one. And I listened to the whole song and I was like, okay, like I totally get the merit of it.
Yeah.
Right. It's just not my jam.
But that's one of those things where you're begging your friends to like, and you're like, if you just listen to it 27 more times, I swear it'll click at that point. But it'll take 20. You got to commit.
But there are bands, I will say, there are bands that when you listen to them, like there's bands that the first paths I didn't like.
True. Yeah.
I mean, Knocked Loose is a pretty good example of that. The first time I heard them, I mean, everybody, the Mickey Mouse voice and the whole thing, their first album, Laugh Tracks. I was like, meh. Now I think it's one of the best albums of all time.
Well, I admit, when I first heard him, I had that initial reaction that probably everybody does. And then you were like, no, just go watch this like 23-minute animated EP. And I'm like, oh. And I read the lyrics on it.
Yeah,
and I go,
another level.
Oh.
Yeah.
And then it went from, I'm not interested to, this is the only thing I'm going to listen to.
for the next however.
And it's weird like that. But I think that is one of the beauties sometimes of metal is, I think we talked about it before, there's a barrier to entry sometimes.
Very
you have
so.
to get past it.
Yes.
And then once you get past it, you almost earned the right to go, okay, this is excellent.
And there's and we've liked this genre of music long enough. Like there's gateway drug bands in a sense, right?
Yeah.
Like for me, it was AC/DC and some of those bands where you're just like, oh, those are good hard rock bands. And then you get heavier and heavier and heavier. And I wonder now, like,
well, that's I think it's one of my questions. Like, what is today's gateway band for the young person to, let's call him the 13-year-old angsty kid going through puberty?
Yeah, it's a great question.
What would get him, like, I think about this with my son. He's 5.
Yeah.
My son and my daughter, right now it's punishment when dad puts on metal. Like, if you guys don't be quiet, I'm going to throw on some metal. And immediately they get good because they don't want to listen to it. I'm guessing at some point when my son goes through his, like, adolescence, it might appeal to him.
Maybe.
What would I play for him?
Yeah, and you'd almost have to start like with bands we've already talked about. Sleep Token, Turnstile, bands that are palatable, right? That aren't so screamy.
Would you go back to the Metallicas of the?
I think I would. Yeah. I mean, I did that with my kids, and what's funny is like my kids, like and my boys, when I used to drive around with them, and my daughter, I didn't subject her to this, but my boys, I definitely did. Like listen to old Metallica, and they used to like old Metallica, and they don't have the love of the genre like I do. Yeah. Like they're like my oldest son. He can get down with some classic rock stuff. And he like we were golfing one time and he threw on Sabbath and he goes, I know Dad will love this. Yeah. And it was War Pigs. And I'm cracking up because I'm like, okay, I know I did something right. Yeah. Because we're out on a golf course and we're listening to War Pigs and this is awesome. And he waited to hit the ball till like a course kicked in, which was awesome. There's a whole other story. My middle kid, he's way more into the EDM thing. and like the ravey stuff and the dancey stuff and the hip hop stuff. And because that's kind of what they've been brought through over the last 10 years. Cause back to what we were talking about in the very beginning of this, which is hip hop and pop have done a great job, specifically hip hop.
Yeah.
And then hip hop has had those offshoots with like the DJs. And I mean, you go to music festivals now, I go to ACL every year. There's so many DJs.
Yeah.
You know, but how many just good, straightforward bass and drums bands are there? Not nearly as many as there used to be.
Yeah, well, I mean, I think, with technology, the advent of technology, and you can produce music these days on a computer, you get the Aviciis and you get the Tiestos and the Deadmau5 and those people. And for what it's worth, they write great music, but they can produce it all with just by themselves. Right. And then you just go throw a party, essentially, which who doesn't want to go to a party and dance for 3 hours?
That's right.
Especially when you're young and dance with girls and stuff like that. I get it.
Yeah.
I never went to a metal show hoping I was going to meet a girl, let's be fair. I'd probably been way too awkward to talk to him at that point anyways.
I'll look at my shoes, not your shoes.
But I do wonder, like, when I do get, like, just as the way that my dad introduced me to metal.
Yeah.
I do wonder, is there going to be a point where my son and I, or maybe, heck, it could be my daughter, you never know, will bond over it. And then I go, well, don't screw this up, Dad. What are you going to introduce them to? Like, if you really want them to be interested. Yeah. And I fear that there isn't necessarily that level of
probably not
greatness in modern metal to introduce them. So I've got to go back.
Yeah, like I took my boys, they were probably 14 and 9. I took them to Queens of the Stone Age because they liked, there was a song that was in a Guitar Hero.
Oh, really?
Yeah. It's called Threes and Sevens. If you've heard that song.
I'm not
super cool song, really fun little riff. Josh Homme's great and the whole thing. But if you dig into Josh Homme, he started in Caius.
Yeah.
Now, Caius is as good as it gets from a stoner.
Yeah.
Oh my God.
I tried to listen to Caius the other day, and there's a couple songs I do like, and that's just, when you talk about genres that I just have not gotten,
I know.
I can't, dude. I try and I try.
Stoner metal, doom metal, sludge metal, all of that stuff is literally like crack to me.
Is it?
I like that Slomosa when you sent that to me. I was at an airport getting ready to go on a business trip. Mm-hmm. And you're like, hey, I remember you said, I sent this to my dad and I sent this to you because your dad likes Sabbath. Mm-hmm. And you sent it to me. I listened to the whole album. Before I was even on the plane, I downloaded both their albums. I listened to those albums on a loop for 2 weeks. Like they were that, because they were taking the old Caius-y, kind of the old stoner stuff and kind of bringing it forward. And are they ever going to get huge? No. But they're awesome.
Well, I have a level of respect for the bands that are active in a genre that will never make them wealthy.
Agreed.
Like never.
I mean, look at Hatebreed.
Hatebreed, yeah. Sustained a career, right? Yeah. But I don't know what the level of the wealth those guys have, but if you think about these guys that do like the most extreme metal, like the
forget it.
It's not even technical death. What would I even call
you can go
a brutal death metal?
Well, like a cattle decapitation kind of thing, like a band that just
you headline a very small club in a seedy part of town, and 300 people might show up. You know what I mean? If that, and that's your peak, right?
That's your like I read a great thing. It was the guitarist it was Gary Holt from Exodus, and he played in Slayer and some different things. And he goes, "We make no money on touring. It's all merch."
Yeah,
because they have a cool logo, and kids now will wear like throwback. like my daughter.
I see so many young people wearing like Metallica.
Well, my daughter has Nirvana shirts.
Yeah.
And her joke is, she goes, but I can name songs.
I can name at least 3 songs.
I've told her, just smells like Teen Spirit and Bloom, Lithium. Just go with those.
Yeah.
But like that throwback element. So but if that's what you have to depend on to make money, that's tough.
Because how many shirts can you theoretically sell as a band like that?
Well, I mean, if 300 people come to your show,
how many buy shirts?
I'm gonna guess 240 of them already have an Exodus shirt.
Yeah,
like I have multiple.
And they don't want the $60 tour shirt either, whatever the price.
Like I have multiple Pantera shirts, and I have multiple Knocked Loose shirts, and I have multiple Metallica shirts. Beyond that, I don't like. I have one Deftones shirt. I have one Alice in Chains shirt. I have one Guns N' Roses shirt. You don't need 100 of them.
By the way, the Deftones shirt that I'm so mad at myself. I gave away the original Screaming Kitty shirt, or I remember I donated or something. I'm like, what I would give to have that shirt back right now.
Guarantee you can find it.
Probably can.
Yeah.
It won't be the same. It won't be the OG version of it.
I think I've told this story on the pod before, but like I had a helmet shirt
Oh yeah.
That I wore. I got it.
Betty or what?
No, it was. It was actually. It was the Betty tour. So I got it in like 95.
Okay.
I had that shirt. It was literally disintegrating on my body.
Is that the one your wife made you give away?
She literally was like, you have to let it go.
What's wrong with you?
Like the holes everywhere. It's so thin. It's like see-through, but it was a long sleeve tee that was like the coolest concert shirt I ever had. So fast forward, I go see Helmet. This is just a couple years ago at Trees here in Dallas. I'm all stoked because I'm going to get a new Helmet shirt. And I bought a new Helmet shirt and we can have this as an aside to the conversation about metal is metal shirts. Mm-hmm. Some are better than others.
Oh, 100%.
Right?
Some are the cheapest shirts you've ever
Knock Loose makes great shirts.
Yeah.
Every Time I Die make great shirts.
But there's sometimes I'll go and I want to buy a band shirt online and I'm like, you're just looking at it and you go, this has no shape to it. It's probably the coarsest cotton you've ever worn in your life. It's $30 with shipping. Do I really want that? Am I going to wear this shirt? And the answer is maybe on this podcast. And that's about it.
I bought a Helmet shirt at the show later and I was so excited because I was like, oh, this is the new era. Just this Helmet. That's all I wanted.
Yeah.
Helmet. Large. If that was a large, that was not a large shirt.
Was it huge or too small?
It was very revealing.
Was it a belly shirt?
It was so snug, and then you have to come to this realization of like, okay, is it the shirt or is it?
Oh, did I get a little bit?
Or did I get? As I always tell my kids, like on the side, like these are thinking handles, they're not love handles. I have a lot to think.
You know how much I've thought about you.
But it's one of those things like, because if you're gonna get a shirt, you want it to be a good shirt. Mm-hmm. So if bands that are trying, like if that's where you have to make your money. Well, then you're probably giving away your profits if you do nice shirts.
Well, there's two things I want out of a metal shirt. Is it a decent shirt? Like, does it fit well enough? It's like decent material. And will I not be insanely embarrassed if I wear this in public? So I went through a phase for a while where I was wearing shirts to the gym. Oh, yeah. And I was like, dude, that's a great place to wear a metal shirt, right? And maybe you get the head nod or
the thumbs up.
Yeah. But then if it's just like, there's certain bands that will never put their shirt on. No. Like, I can't wear, if I bought a Dying Wish shirt, I would probably be arrested for wearing that shirt, dude. So I can't wear that. As a respectable adult with responsibilities.
As a person who is married with children, I cannot in good conscience wear this shirt.
Yeah. Like, what is wrong?
Like Metallica does a good job with theirs. Like, because they're just aggressive enough.
And they also know they're 60.
They're old.
Yeah.
So. Like Knocked Loose, like their shirts, they do a great job. Like that one, and You've Got It, I've Got It with the pink logo.
Yeah. Oh, I love that shirt.
That shirt fits perfect. Washes up nice. I mean, now we're sounding literally like metal age men.
Yeah.
But it's like this shirt. I love this shirt. It's simple. Mm-hmm. It's just some lady kind of screaming. It's just Deftones. It fits nice.
Well, I like this shirt because you don't know what's going on in it. There's so much happening. And this is back in the era, and I love this era.
Yeah.
Pre-AI.
Yeah.
Somebody drew the album cover.
Which is crazy.
Which I think is so freaking cool.
Yeah, which is crazy.
Nowadays, it's so easy to create a prompt and have a cover or artwork. And it's like, again, you go back to the purity of the art and creating it and being able to play an instrument or be able to draw an album cover. Yep. And there's literally guys and girls out there that their whole thing was you go to them because they'll create the best album cover by hand. Yes. And you might pay them 10 grand or I don't know.
Yeah.
But that was their art and that was their contribution to the art.
Metallica, Pusshead. He did all of their stuff. That was his name. Pusshead.
Pusshead?
He was the guy who did all of the old Metallica, all the skulls and all the things. It got to a point where people knew him as well as they did the band.
That's cool.
Yeah.
See, that's cool.
Yeah. That doesn't exist anymore.
Yeah. Well, so all right. So we had some questions.
Yeah.
I want to ask you this, Jeff. So do you start your day with metal or how much into your day do you need to get until you turn metal on?
It's from the jump.
Oh, so you don't need any coffee. You don't need nothing. You're just.
Nope. So
at what point though? Is this the drive to work or when does it, or the shower?
This is after I get out of the shower.
Oh, wow. Okay.
Yeah. So I bring every morning, I bring my AirPods into the bathroom. I take a shower.
That's hilarious.
I throw my AirPods in and then
you're already ripping from
and it's going. Now it might be like, I might listen to depending on, if you're feeling hella aggressive, right? Then you go something like here lately, it's been Guilt Trip every time I get out of the shower. Every time. I just throw on a Guilt Trip album. I start at track 1, go. Because their album's like 27 minutes for 10 songs.
Yeah.
So it's brilliant.
Yeah.
But some days, if I need something a little slower and sludgier, I'll do some stoner or I'll do some old school thrash. If I've got something about me, if I have a meeting that's really important, I'm listening to Metallica. And it's generally going to be pretty much anything off Ride the Lightning.
Okay.
So that's For Whom the Bell Tolls. It's Ride the Lightning. It's Trapped Under Ice. It's Fade to Black. That album, if I've got a big meeting,
so prior to the meeting, that's what gets you
prior
in
to the meeting,
zone.
and I'll listen to that as I get out of the shower because that's getting me into the headspace to get into the office, to get into the meeting, to get into the thing. So
that's a lot of pre-production for the meeting. Man.
I have a fair amount of internal hype that I do.
Well, it's funny because
so how about you?
I usually don't have metal cranking until at the very earliest the drive to work.
Okay.
And I usually need at least a couple doses of coffee before that happens. And I also have to be in the right headspace because one of the things that I have to be in the right mood for metal. And it's literally 100% of the time it's in my ears when I'm working out.
Yeah.
But depending on the mood or depending on what I have to do in the day, what's on my mind, the pressure, stress, all that stuff. Sometimes I'm like, I don't need to throw more anxiety on top of it.
It can wind you up.
Yeah, it can wind me up too much.
Yeah.
But it is the thing that will get me going or like, I got to go produce a lot of work. I got to have a big productive day. Metal.
Yeah.
But I can't wake up and I do the old guy, wake up before the rest of the family, quiet, dark house.
Same.
I can't do metal usually that early in the morning.
And that's me, AirPods in. And they're now, we talk about, we were talking about palate cleansers and some different things like that. Like there are times where I like rap music, but I like old school hip hop. So I listen to like Wu-Tang and like NWA and Dre and all this old school stuff. That's my palate cleanser for like a day or two.
Okay.
Old blues, like Stevie Ray Vaughan. And I'll go way back blues wise, like to old school, like Howlin' Wolf and stuff like that. But that's the guitar dork in me. But
well, that's fair. Yeah, I totally get that.
But generally after like a day or two of that, then I'm like, okay, I want to listen to Guilt Trip. but my days, 96% of them start with something heavy.
Well, I remember in our heavy metal chain, we were like, oh, here's my Spotify Wrapped, and here's how many minutes. And it was like every one of us in order, like, can't believe you listen that much. Oh, I listen a little more. You're like, oh, I listen. And then you crushed us all.
I said, hold my beer.
I can't remember how many minutes
it was ridiculous.
It was like,
I listened to it at work.
So but you listened to like a month of music or something crazy like that.
Yes.
And it's like, so you must always be listening to music.
I am always listening to music. And I've always been that way.
Okay.
I've been that way since I was little. I was the kid that used to bring my radio to school. Like whenever you couldn't bring it to school, I put it in my backpack so I could have it before and after. And I think I saw some, Instagram, of course, is always listening to us and social media.
Of course.
So
I guarantee when I open my Spotify, Guilt Trip's going to be suggested to me.
100%. That's why I keep saying it.
Guilt Trip.
Yeah. But like they talk about there's reels about like people and what they use to focus and things like that. And music tends to be something that people, because it takes you to a moment, it takes you to a thought, it takes you to this. And so for me, I have so many things in my mind of this music takes me where I like, this can bring me up, this can bring me down, this can level me out. And I have it kind of all segmented out in my own twisted head. So now what levels me out would be like a Guilt Trip album, whereas, like I think one of the pods we talked about being in the airport and like I would fall asleep. Like I fall asleep listening to Nine Inch Nails.
Yeah, see, I don't think I could do that.
They have mellow stuff too. But then every now and again it'll knock your socks off whenever, you're sleeping and something jolts you up. So it's one of those, sorry about that. It's one of those things where music is integral to my
but is there any genre of metal that you just cannot do? No matter, I mean, you mentioned prog earlier, which is
death stuff, the
old school death metal Cookie Monster.
I have a hard time with that.
Yeah, I think I have a hard time with death metal for the most part. There's sometimes I can get into an old Decapitated. Yeah. I can get a song or two of Cannibal Corpse. Like I can tolerate but don't love. Mm-hmm. I love the chugginess of the guitars, but I don't love the vocals.
Same.
The one genre that
what's your no-fly zone?
Get away from me is the high-pitched black metal.
Yeah.
I get don't even send me that. Don't even try. Like I can, if every once in a while when a band inserts an element of that into a song for a while, cool.
Yeah.
But don't send me Death Heaven. Don't send me what are the Dimmy Borgir or like.
That's a no-go.
Like that's not even the same music genre at all.
Well, and I know one of your kind of no-goes is like the old thrash guys, like the high-pitched.
Oh, with
like Joey Belladonna with Anthrax,
opera style,
who does like the opera style.
Rob Halford style.
Halford has a lot of that, and like that. That was my introduction, so I love it.
The only band that's in the thrash world that I can tolerate is Testament.
And I get that.
And I like Testament.
And it's Chuck Billy.
It's Chuck Billy.
And
he's great.
He's badass.
But it's like the Testament will slow the tempo down enough every once in a while. They had the Demonic album that I thought was like groovier.
Yeah.
And that was one I actually loved.
Yeah.
But it's also a genre that is almost a no-fly zone.
Electric Crown, which was a song by Testament on one of their early 90s albums, I would put that against anything. It's so... And what's crazy is the footnote to Testament, so one of their guitarists, his name's Alex Skolnick.
Okay.
Great guitar player. He was actually at Guitar Sanctuary in McKinney last night because he's become like a really prolific jazz player. So he was doing a thing last night that I really wanted to go to. I just couldn't get to it, and it was good. And it was called A Journey from Metal to Jazz, and it was Alex Skolnick was going to be presenting and like playing in front of the crowd and all this stuff. And I'm like, but it kind of goes back to what we were talking about probably 30 minutes ago, which is these guys. Like if you're in Testament, you were big, never huge.
Mm-hmm.
And if you're like, okay, well, I still love to play, so I guess
you get the beauty of a Testament is like, I will go on the tour with Lamb of God, or I will get invited to
Anthrax is that same bucket.
The Slayer farewell tour that had like 3 different years of being farewell, right? It's like you have the cred where you're like a comic. You're
great
metal
analogy.
band's metal band, and so you get invited to those shows and you can make a living.
Great
off
analogy.
Of it. But they just never quite broke through.
I mean, Testament, early 90s, late 80s, early 90s, they were huge. But huge was a relative word because they were still slotted behind the big four.
Well, do you ever think metal will get back to the point of the MTV heyday where like Korn was like on the top of
I don't think so.
No. I don't know if it will either.
Because again, and it's kind of what we continue to talk about in this podcast, and we've talked about it across now 4 episodes, which is it's so segmented now. And everybody, people go to YouTube or they go to Apple Music or Spotify and your algorithm dictates more of what you find than you going and finding it. And we also don't have a uniform supplier for mass. Like Korn gets on MTV and everybody goes, ooh, or Limp Bizkit. I mean, Limp Bizkit, I love their first album. That was a $3 bill, y'all.
Yeah.
Great album.
Yeah.
But without them doing the next album and putting out Nookie, and then everybody loves because it's funny.
But you did it all for the cookie.
Did it all for the cookie. Stick it right up your whatever he says. Yeah. So, but I like if you deep dive on those bands, they're great.
Yes, they are.
I mean, Korn to me is Mount Rushmore.
I think, and that's the one that probably I would say could be your most controversial take, but I also agree with you simultaneously.
Yeah.
Is I wish you could go back to that era for somebody that's like a metal purist that like has disgust for a Korn and go, you don't realize what that band did for this genre. And it literally invented nu metal and then became the biggest band maybe in the world for a while.
Yes.
Introduced so many people to metal that would have never otherwise listened to it.
Still can headline anywhere.
And then change the kind of the course of where metal went. Whether you agree that's good or bad, such a profound impact on the genre that it's undeniable.
Well, and I think they got, you have all these genres, right, of like you have hair metal, right? And everybody will blame like Motley Crue for like, hair metal, Motley Crue. Some catchy songs in there. Mm-hmm. You go to nu metal and everybody kind of views, it's the rap metal thing, right? Yeah. That was kind of like, but like Linkin Park, like was huge. Chester's voice was as big as it gets.
Yep.
Now, Mike Shinoda, the other guy, like he had like the rappy side of things, but like a lot of these bands like Korn, Jonathan Davis more often than not was not rapping. He was singing. Chino with Deftones. They got kind of thrown into that bucket and you're like, dude, that is not. Yeah, that's not rap metal.
I wouldn't.
The closest thing to it was Limp Bizkit, and then kind of the ones that spun out of Limp Bizkit. But even Limp Bizkit, Wes Borland's riffs are ridiculous.
They are.
Like, I mean, they're ridiculous.
I feel like there's some metal purists that like feel like Wes Borland's talents were wasted in. But I'm like, no, he didn't. No. He wrote ripping riffs.
Yes, dude. And I think that's where the broad brush that people paint metal with, right? Of like, this is
but Sleep Token's a victim of that right now. They're going through that same thing with metal purists. But I also would say, and kind of go 360 with this conversation, is that how many people have been introduced to some heavy stuff they wouldn't have listened to and then start to realize, I actually kind of like that.
Absolutely. Absolutely. Because there's again, it goes back to you can offshoot a million different ways in this genre. And like, these bands, you have to almost have the palatable song. It's the gateway drug of the album, right? Like Turnstile's really good at that. Sleep Token's really good at that. And that's why I think, and I hope that they have staying power, that in 10 years, everybody goes, man, remember Sleep Token, or Turnstile, or, insert band name here. And I'm hoping that there's some new ones coming up in the pipeline. Well, but for what it's worth,
the Sleep Token, I've never seen a modern band in metal sell out a tour that fast. Like, you could not get tickets
instantly. Well, and what do they call their shows? They call them like gatherings, or
the ritual
or something like join us for the ritual.
Yeah,
like they've done such a where Sleep Token is brilliant is they've integrated this genre of music with the current social media aspect. Because you're right. I mean, their UK shows sold out in 2 seconds. Their stateside shows. The show we went to, that was it was 5,000-6,000 people all singing the songs.
Oh, everybody was there.
People dressed up like these dudes. like to me, that's the
cosplaying.
Well, like Slipknot shows.
Yeah.
You see dudes dressed up like Slipknot. Now, Slipknot started like in the 90s, right?
Mm-hmm.
So you have some guys that probably shouldn't be dressing up as Slipknot people, but even younger gen, because they think it's cool, right? And it's like, if you've got a hook to get people in, I'm all for it.
So, all right. So I'm going to probably wrap up the show here soon.
Yeah.
Question for you. So we've been lamenting about metal not quite being at its peak at the moment.
Yeah.
What's missing for you? Is there an element of metal that's missing right now?
Ooh, that's a good question. And I hadn't really thought about this.
So I would say, I'll layer on my
your answer to that one. Yeah.
The commitment to writing a great song and spending time to write the best song possible, or write a whole album and not chase the algorithm, not chase attention of influencers.
Yeah.
It's like getting back to the basics of like what makes a Nirvana great.
Right.
They wrote fantastic songs.
Yes.
They captured lightning in a bottle because of the time and the sound.
Hooky and catchy.
But,
and all
you turn a Nirvana song into a piano song or a pop. They are pop songs. They're literally pop structure.
Yeah.
They write great songs.
Yeah.
Who is writing great songs right now? And that's for me what is missing.
That's a great question. Yeah, because what makes this genre is the DIY of it, right? 4 guys in a garage, 3 guys and a girl, whatever it is, right? And just say, okay, we're gonna write music and we're gonna suck
for a long time,
and we're gonna grind and we're gonna pay our dues and we're gonna this and we're gonna that.
Yeah,
and it's what like Nirvana's a great example. They used to say Kurt Cobain, like his favorite band was the Beatles. Because he loved how they...
Well, listen to Maynard talk. Like every band Maynard lists as his favorite band, none of them are metal at all.
No.
Yeah.
And so the current genre, like is there a band that can grab hold of the public consciousness? And it will take a band that not only can visually be appealing and all that, whatever that may mean.
Well, that's you raise an interesting point. You almost have to be really good at social media these days to make it as a band.
Oh, absolutely.
Which then kind of reinforces things that are not music,
right?
But you have to do, whether it's a look, whether it's writing, making funny videos or whatever, going on podcasts.
Yeah.
It's you're reinforcing activities that aren't about writing great music.
That's right.
To get popular.
Yeah.
And
you gotta grab somebody in 10 seconds.
Yeah.
Or 15 seconds. Because I know I'm sure whenever you're thumbing through your Instagram, I get bands pop up that say like, hey, you guys need to check us out. And you listen to them and then you go to their, like you go on Apple Music or Spotify and you find them or Bandcamp or whatever. And the production's terrible. Like it doesn't sound good. And you're like, okay, but they're trying. And I definitely respect.
Well, think about Lamb of God's first album. How terrible does it sound?
Yeah. Was that even when they were Burn the Priest, I think?
It was right after Burn the Priest. It was the one that has Black Label on it. Where he goes, apparently the stories, he goes into the booth and doesn't even have lyrics for the song yet. And he's so drunk, like you can't understand him. But it's so heavy and it's so awesome. And it sounds awful. Like I just wish they would re-record it. But they started there, man.
Well, and you know what's crazy? And, we keep talking about kind of how it's all segmented and it's all crazy. How many of these guys now, whenever you're listening to a band, they're in like 3 bands?
Oh, yeah. Yeah.
Nobody's in one band.
Well, they're probably just trying to make a living.
Because they're just trying to make, get from point A to point B. And it's such a drag. Because you're like, they're like, Lamb of God is a great example. Lamb of God is kind of an OG, been around forever. Everybody loves Randy Blythe. Their riffs are insane. And they're constantly putting out stuff. Like they put out a couple songs this last year. They put out a song called, I think it was called Sepsis.
Yeah.
It's heavy as hell. And it rips.
Uh-huh.
And it rips, but it's one song.
Yeah. That's, you bring up an interesting point. How many bands, new bands nowadays, put out a song and start with a
EPs.
song? I'm literally telling you, there are bands that I will catch from Instagram, go to their Spotify. The one song is the only song they have.
Yeah.
And to me, it's almost like, let's just test it out.
Yeah.
Let's put a song out and see if we get popular. Then we'll decide whether or not there's something here.
And that's a bummer.
But it's a bummer because what if it's great? Well, you don't have anything else. You can't go on tour.
Right.
Now you go write an album.
Right.
But it's like there's also not a huge commitment to we're going to write an album and we're going to be a real band.
Yeah.
We're going to throw these guys together. We're going to record a song in a studio, or maybe they're in their house recording, and then see what happens.
Yeah, because I know to your point, and taking one step further, a lot of these legacy bands now. And Down is a great example. Down, who I love.
I love Down.
And they haven't put out a new record in...
Do you think they will?
They supposedly have one that's coming out this year.
So.
And I'll tell a quick side Down story. I got to see them this last year in Vegas.
Cool.
I just happened to be in Vegas, March Madness. I go every year. I get out of the airport and Down is there with Danzig.
Okay.
I tell my buddies, I'm like, the guys I go to Vegas with, hey man, let's go. Like, anybody want to come? No. Went by myself.
That's totally a show I'd go by myself.
Went by myself. Killer.
Yeah.
Down sounded great, but they even said they went through their last 3 albums have all been EPs. Like, because they were, and I think they're finally putting out a full length album. But
it seems like Phil's got his life together now.
Seems that way.
You know what I mean?
Yeah.
They're touring with Pantera for a couple of years. He sounded great. I love that he walks around like an old man barefoot around the stage. Like every time I see him, he's barefoot for some reason. I don't know why. But if that means that he's re-inspired to write new music, create a Down album, do you think we'll see a Pantera album?
The rumor is no. So Down they've come out on socials and been like, yeah, you're getting a new album. Down's getting a new album this year. And we can talk about that a little bit. Like Down's getting a new album this year. Anthrax is putting out a new record this year. Beyond that, I don't know. Because again, it comes out so like 1 song, 3 songs. Well, even now, like go back, you talk about going to CD Warehouse, and like when I lived in St. Louis, there's a place called Streetside Records, which was the same thing. Tuesday, new release day.
Yep.
And you'd go, it was the best day.
Yeah.
And you kept a list of what was coming out, and you were super stoked when.
Because you were reading Metal Edge or
whatever, right? Or
magazine.
Old Circus and all these old magazines.
Circus, yes.
And you would go and you digested an album in one setting front to back. Mm-hmm. Now the way bands release albums, you have half the album before the whole thing comes out. Like there's 2 bands.
That is like my huge pet peeve.
So you
release a song and then the album comes out 6 months from now, and then you release 6 of the 12 songs as singles. Come on.
So one band that we've talked about on this pod before, and everybody knows I love, which is Every Time I Die.
Yeah.
They break up. The brothers can't get along. So now there's 2 bands out of that.
Was it Many Eyes?
And Better Lovers.
Better Lovers.
Yeah. And actually Atomic Rule now with the wrestler guy, they might be the best of the 3. Many Eyes and Better Lovers have both done the EP piecemealing out stuff. And okay, that's cool. Like I get you guys are wanting to kind of tickle everyone's palates, so to speak, but just put out the album.
Yeah.
Or give me 1 song and then put out the album. Don't like Lamb of God put out one where I think they put out 4 or 5 of the 10 and then release the whole album. And I'm like, well, I'm already worn out with the 4 or 5 that I've listened to. Like, I kind of want to get back. It would be nice to kind of, and again, this makes us sound like old men, but it's okay.
It would be nice though that an album just comes out and you go, holy shit.
Boom.
Boom. Oh, I know what I'm doing the next day.
That Paleface Swiss EP that came out, it was an EP. It was only 5 songs, and we were playing it before. Dark. It's really good, but it came out in one shot.
Yeah.
So it was like, I was actually walking my dogs and was like, oh, snap, I'm going to listen to Paleface Swiss for the next 30 minutes.
Well, and the credit I give to Paleface Swiss is those guys put in the work. Like,
yes.
They produce a lot of music, right?
Yeah.
It feels like they're just saying, we know if we just inundate the marketplace with our music, that we will get popular. And it's good. It's
Boundaries,
really good.
Boundaries, I watched a thing, go back to the rabbit hole of watching Boundaries videos, where they literally were like, we will not go longer than 18 months to 2 years between albums.
I love it.
Because they're like, we know that's what we have to do.
Because our rent depends on it.
And they didn't come out and say that, but that's what the implication is, right? It's like, because I think they have, 4 or 5 albums?
Something like that, yeah.
And they're like, we consistently put them out every 18 months because then they can get a new tour cycle.
When we were in the CD cycle, when bands could literally get wealthy off a platinum CD, right? Yep. There was an expectation that no more than 24 months would go by between albums.
Right.
Because you had a record contract to fulfill. And plus, if you could sell 1 million copies of that, CDs used to cost 12 to 15 bucks, right? So 15 million of top line revenue, I'm sure their cuts obviously a small percentage of that. But you could make $1 million on an album, right? So you kind of have to produce it to make money.
And the touring cycle and all the things that come with that, right?
God, we could go down a rabbit hole here, and I don't know how long we've been yapping, but streaming has it kind of killed,
radically changed things.
Yeah, but has it killed the purity of writing great music and great albums? Because it's like,
I think so.
You can't make any money off of it, so you have to produce it just so you can go do a tour.
Agreed.
To make enough money to make a living. Agreed. So therefore, again, it's like feeding this beast.
I know.
And it kind of sucks.
And it's an unavoidable machine.
Yeah.
If you're a legacy band and I'll just use Anthrax as an example, or you're a new band like Guilt Trip, you're having to take the same approach.
Mm-hmm. What else are you going to do right now?
I know when I start to what's the first thing you do when you like when I found Guilt Trip, or I found Knock Loose or any band, I immediately go out to their socials, follow every one of them, because that's whenever you're going to hear if a new album's coming, if a tour's coming, if they're working on music, if they're this, if they're that, or the other thing. And even old school, like Metallica has turned into brilliant social media people. Because they obviously have a team.
Well, of course they have. Yeah, they definitely have a team.
Because they're Metallica. If you go on YouTube and look up Metallica videos, the concert videos are brilliantly produced. I went to, they played Fort Worth late 90s. This would have been like the Load Reload era. Corrosion and Conformity opening up for them. Mm-hmm. They were filming their home video at the show I was at. So they would play a song and then be like, hey, listen, we're going to play that one again.
Yeah.
We're going to play Seek and Destroy again, which for all the Metallica people there, it was like, hell yeah, play it again. but it was all for this VHS video that was going to get released.
Dude, right? I remember I rented a Pantera home video when I was 12, 13 years old. And I think my mom saw something that was like, yeah, you're not watching that.
That's a no-go.
Yeah, but I was like, Mom, it's Pantera. Just watch it. And it's like, I'm getting drunk and, it's probably they frequented the strip clubs back in the day. I think they owned a strip club, right? So pretty sure it wasn't appropriate for me.
At least that's what I've heard.
I've heard it was the clubhouse as well. And my mom was like, you are not watching that. And I was like, okay.
I think I've told you the story. And if I have, oh well. So I lived in Southern California growing up. Yeah. And I started playing guitar when I was 12, 13 years old. And my teacher was like, hey, I would really like you. He's like, you seem to enjoy it and this and that. He goes, I've got this class and it's a more advanced class, but I'd really like you to be in this advanced class. Now I'm 13 years old. So I think that's the coolest thing I've ever heard. Right. So keep in mind, I'm 13. It's 1985.
Okay.
1985, 86, right there. So thrash is kind of starting. Hair metal is kind of in full throw, the whole thing. My mom would be the one that would take me to guitar lessons. And so I told my mom, I said, hey, guitar teacher's name was Steve. I said, Steve said that I can get in this class. And she's like, okay, great. She goes, well, I'll come in with you the first day. I go, yeah, there's gonna be 8 people in there. And every guy in there looks straight out of a metal band. Long hair. A couple of guys are smoking before they walk in.
Yeah.
And they see, here's this little guy. And I was teeny when I was 13.
Okay.
We walk in the door. My mom looks at me and goes, nope. We walk right back out. And I remember being devastated.
Yeah.
Because I was like, but all those guys look so cool.
They were awesome.
They were all, look at that. I would love to know where those 8 guys are now.
Yeah, no kidding. Right? Your mom was protecting you.
She was right.
Yeah, she was right.
But it was just one of those moments where it was just like, oh, but all the cool guys in there with the things, and it was like this full blood
smoking.
Yeah, they're all smoking, and like they're playing like flying V's, and they're all just shredding riffs, and I'm walking in like, oh, this is gonna be the best thing ever.
Okay, so one thing that I do love about metal that has a similarity to comedy is to truly be great at either one of them, you have to live it. Like you have to commit to it. Like
it's a lifestyle choice.
One of the reasons I exited doing stand-up is because I started to realize, okay, well, how do you make it? You spend 10 to 15 years honing your craft, grinding, making zero money, working odd jobs, not having a family, not having a wife.
Yeah.
And you have to live it to succeed.
Yeah.
And then even then, and the saddest part is the people that have lived it for 20 years and never, quote unquote, made it and never could sustain themselves. And then they don't have a life to show as a result of it.
Right.
But that is the risk that art form requires you to take to be successful. And I had to ask myself, am I willing to take that risk to be successful? And the answer was no. Like, to me, the answer was no. I couldn't. No. Right. I know that's not what you're saying, but it is. No, I go
same,
also
but same, but
respect.
Yes.
Because those people did it. Yeah. And that is what it takes, right?
Well, if you get a chance, there's a brilliant Led Zeppelin documentary now. It's on Prime. Okay. I think it's on Prime or on Netflix. It's one of the two. It's called Becoming Led Zeppelin. And they talk about the genesis of Zeppelin, right? And like, it's hardcore. And, you know, this is 60 some years ago, right? And like Jimmy Page and John Paul Jones, they were literally studio musicians. And they walked through that they played on like 60 or 70 different, like they were involved with like the James Bond theme. Like, it's crazy. And then meanwhile, and then you had like John Bonham, who's their drummer, who's just this madman drummer that everybody's like, but he's brilliant. And Robert Plant was like living in his car, just wanting to have a chance. Now, Jimmy Page and John Paul Jones could have stayed in that lane, been studio musicians and had a great life and the whole thing. And they talk about like almost from the word go, Zeppelin was like, whoa. Yeah. Like everybody, like their first show and Plant singing and Page is playing and John Paul, like.
But they also put in the work, like you said.
Yes.
As but professional studio musicians.
But all four of them, they were committed because that's what it took. And they were kind of the exception to the rule, right? Yeah. Like they caught lightning very quickly as a band, but it took all of them years to get to that point. And I, pull that to now with the way things are consumed digitally and streaming and guys can't make and gals can't make money. I don't even know what people get paid for streaming, but
it's fractions of a penny.
Pennies on the dollar.
Well, right? Like I can tell you my other podcasts, which we don't talk a ton about, are like our actual work lives, but like my other podcasts require sponsorship dollars to produce because if I make $100 a month on YouTube and that's the only revenue that comes from a streaming service or a platform. Everything else is, thankfully, there's sponsors that support the show. And so if I had to go that route, dude, and try to do that show as consistently as I do, it would take me 10 to 15 years. Yeah. It's almost not possible.
Right. I mean, again, you have to have that viral moment or that, like even the, and we talked about it earlier, the Garza podcast, because he's like, I believe he's the Suicide Silence guitarist.
Yes. Yep.
And you're like, okay, here's the Suicide Silence. Who's within their genre.
They were a big band for a while. And they lost their singer.
And they lost their singer, a horrible circumstance and the whole thing. And here's this guy who's like, well, I'll just do a podcast because I know everybody. Josta does the same thing. He has a Josta podcast. Yeah. And you're like, these are like Hatebreed and Suicide Silence and all these bands. You like, in your head, you're like, well, I think they've done okay, but they probably haven't.
No. But what I love about that is when you see the level of respect between those guys and when they're talking to each other, right? It's like, hey, we're in this club. And we all understand what
we all know the handshake.
And we know the handshake. Yep. And we can talk to each other as peers. And there's mutual respect between, and Garza talks about his love for Chevelle. And he's like, Chevelle's a band that like didn't get the level of respect from the metal hands.
I love that podcast.
That was one of my favorite ones. That's actually what got me into his show. Yeah. But there was like this mutual respect and love between the bands. And there were different genres of music. But it's like, oh, you're one of us. Like it's like the green room of a comedian show.
And that's what's great. Again, it goes back to that's what I've always loved about metal as aggressive and crazy and all the things that it looks like from the outside.
Yeah.
When you're in it, whether a band is Sleep Token or the heaviest of heavy, they all dig each other because they're like, you're on the same grind I am. we're in the same boat.
Yep.
Right. And if somebody gets really big, they all root for that guy. And then they want to pull the bands with them.
Yep, totally.
That they want to pick up. I mean, that's where like a Metallica and some of these bands that bring bands out, and they don't do it as much anymore because they're kind of doing more of the legacy thing. But like back in the day, I mean, like if you go see, like I saw Every Time I Die, they pulled out Turnstile because I love Turnstile.
I mean, Tool, I don't love Author and Punisher, but Tool brought Author and Punisher And Author and Punisher to what do you get on, how do you get on Tool's radar? You do something totally unique and off the wall. I mean, I remember it was probably 20 plus years ago, Meshuggah was on a Tool bill. And everybody there was like, what is this? What is going on? Because it didn't fit. But there's like, hey, we respect these guys. They're phenomenal musicians. They do our thing.
Yep.
And it's like, we just want to introduce you to them, even if they don't fit the bill at all. Because that's like, you need to respect the talent that's here.
When I saw Turnstile open up for Every Time I Die. When I saw Tool open up for Rollins' band.
Oh, yeah.
And Henry Rollins loved Maynard.
Yeah.
That's why he brought him out. I've read interviews with him later where he's like, I just love the guy's energy. And he kind of approached the thing the same way, shirt off, no shoes on, real aggressive, crazy. And it's like, we're bringing this pod full circle as we get toward the end of it. We talk about going to these shows and are we too old to go to shows and are we this and are we that? And you want to see the first one, but not the fourth one, I've never gotten to a show too early and regretted it.
Fair.
As long as I have a seat.
As long as I have a seat.
But
your point about shows, man, my bar to clear for shows now is so high.
Me too.
I'm looking at the calendar. I'm like, I'm not sure. There's only one show in April, and it's when Lamb of God, Fit for an Autopsy, and I think there's a couple other bands on there.
Yep.
Songwriting and somebody else on there. I'm like, I could see myself seeing that show. It's on a Saturday in April. That may be the one show that clears the bar as a 43-year-old man with kids and wanting to ask for a hall pass to go see a show by myself. That may be the one of the year that it clears that bar for me at this age. Right?
I get it.
But it's at that stupid indoor-outdoor.
I love that
Smirnoff.
What is it? Toyota, isn't it?
Yeah, but is it Toyota?
I think it's Toyota.
Oh, no. Okay. Yeah, it's Toyota. Okay. So what's the one that it's like.
Oh, you're talking the one Dos Equis or whatever. The old school. Now it's called something of Smirnoff.
And it doesn't even sound that good. Yeah.
But I'm of the same opinion.
We know we've been going long when Nathaniel has to check the battery 7 times.
He's like, is it alive? It's alive.
And I got pee too, so we'll probably have to.
We'll wind it up, but I will wind it up on this. Back to what I just said. I've never regretted going to a show too early because I can always find in any metal band a song I like.
Of course.
Even if it's just out of my wheelhouse, I go to see the Prog. Like, who's the kid? The Polyphia.
Oh yeah, guy. Henson.
Yeah, there's a band. There's another band that was in that same vein that I saw.
Unprocessed.
There it is.
Yeah,
I saw something in that same vein at a show open up for I think it was Mastodon. Do I want to? Could I sit on my own and listen to that for 40 minutes? No.
Oh no, it was Animals as Leaders.
Animals as Leaders.
Yeah.
I was like, wow.
No, they are so good. The Tosin Abasi or
I was blown away. Yeah. But now, would I go buy their album? Would I want to go see them at a club?
You know what the problem is with that band like that? They don't sing anything.
No singer.
I'm going to be like, Jeff, hey, you remember that song? No, you're like, no, that's Yeah, you're like, I don't even know how do I find that song? I can't find that song. So that's just, all right, they're cool, but I will never tell somebody you got to listen to this song because I don't know what song it was.
It's the dazed and confused thing, right? Are you cool?
Are you cool? Yeah.
Yeah.
Okay.
I'll take your word for it.
Yeah. All right. So how do we even end this thing, man? What do we want to say? Like metal's awesome.
Metal's
cool
awesome.
To love metal when you're 43 and 54.
Today's my 54th birthday.
Yeah.
Well,
you know what I love about it? It was the reason we had to get together and celebrate your birthday and shoot a podcast. For no other reason than we love to talk about this subject.
I think I sent you a reel, something about, hey, nothing better than sitting down with your buddy for 2 hours and talking about metal.
Same shit that you've talked about 15 times before.
So it's always a pleasure. We're going to try to pick up the pace a little bit on this so that we're not, it's not another 2 years.
Yeah, we literally looked, it was 2 years ago.
Yeah, it's 2 years. So I think our adoring fans have missed us. I think there's an audience that is clamoring.
Maybe this has coincided with the way metal struggled over the last couple of years. We haven't produced a show.
It's hard to draw a straight line from the one to the other, but I think it's there. I think it's definitely applied. So no, this is great. Love it as always. And we'll do it again soon.
Yeah. Cheers to your birthday, man.
All right, brother. Be good.